The biggest act of love that you will ever do is to embrace the totality of your own humanity. What does that mean exactly? It means embracing all of yourself. And any idea that you have that spirituality is supposed to just erase this complex creature that we are and refine it to the point where some of the idiosyncrasies of our own humanity and the frailties and the vulnerabilities are all just going to be cleaned out, refined, wiped out, is partially true, but not all the way true. And if we're looking and to be transformed to the point of being a saint with the formulations that your own mind has created, you're going to be leaving yourself out of the picture, and hence you're going to not fully complete the full circle awakening, which is our potential and our evolutionary possibility. So what does this take? Well, first of all, most people are drawn, and I was too, but not exclusively, and perhaps you too, not exclusively. I was drawn to a transcendent awakening. That was the first calling. And the calling was, who am I? What am I? And I didn't have that inquiry yet. I hadn't come across it yet. But there was this understanding that there's more going on than this idea of my personal self. I could feel that there was, and the personal self itself was painful. It was a contraction. It hurt. And so something deeper was calling, and through meditation and lots of yoga and body work, I got in touch with the presence that lives here, that lives here always. And so my gaze, and perhaps your gaze too, is being turned to the presence, which some people may call awareness, consciousness that is unbounded. So there was this leaning into what's eternal, and that is completely the calling back to spirit, back to this that we are. What always is in the midst of life. Okay, so first there is this up and out kind of awakening, right? Up and out. And now I don't want to say that this is always linear, because while I was interested and totally devoted to I didn't even have the word presence back then. This is back in my early 20s, and so this is a while ago. And we didn't have all these kind of terms floating around. There was just cosmic consciousness and enlightenment and so on that I picked up from yoga. But I knew that something was true in it, And of course, within Christianity and the Gnostic traditions, there's the stillness. Be still and know that I'm God. So stillness and what the energy field of what stillness provided, and when I would sink into it, what it revealed was so fascinating and so beautiful that I just wanted to stay there. And perhaps you do too. And then the spiritual journey is learning how to stay there, and until it becomes abiding and it becomes permanent, where what we are, this awareness, is a permanent understanding within the mind, within the awake mind. Okay, so that's the up and out, and then we have the down and in, and so that awakeness wants to complete the full circle awakening, and not for everyone. Have you noticed that there are lots of teachers that only still point to, I am not this, I am not that. Stay there. Don't come back into this and that. So it's not being promoted everywhere, and it's still fairly evolutionarily kind of young in terms of newish, but not in societies and cultures that have embraced that. For instance, some tantric traditions and different traditions that you may be aware of, earth-based traditions that are saying God is immanent here, the divine is immanent here. Okay, so up and out, and then down and in, and it wants to then know it here, know this, that it has awoken to here within our own makeup, our humanity. And then that embodiment begins the process and encountering what's here. And for this, that it knows itself eternally and is not lost, re-enters the content that is the divine as well, in order to be able to liberate it so that it too knows itself as that, so it's not lost and believing in itself to be separate and divided, right? So we wake up to our wholeness and completeness, and then this return to be able to manifest that understanding here through and through. And that is an ongoing journey, because it gets into the nitty-gritty of the personality, into the things that are out of alignment. Not everything is going to go. So the human being, us humans, we have a certain type of makeup, and animals, and each animal has a different type, and each tree and flower and mountain, and you've heard me maybe say some of this before, right? It's all sentient, and it all contains its own understanding of its God essence. It's God knowing, its creator. Maybe you don't like the word God. It's creator. It's that knowing itself as that in this kind of formula, in this formulation. So human beings, we have our own certain formula, right? We have these senses. We have these different senses. And we also have an emotional body, and we have an interesting psyche. We have an ability to self-reflect, which is to look at ourselves, which helped us to become lost in a way, because we became the subject-object took place, where we believed ourselves to be an object in awareness versus just undivided, just that, just subject, I guess, just, or neither, just that. So self-awareness, self-consciousness has led to feeling division, but it also is sort of like the thorn, as Ramana says, a thorn removing a thorn. The ability to reflect and look at ourselves can also undo what it has built up to believe itself to be true. So then so this ability to look says, is it true that there really is a separate self here? And that process, that journey, and resting more and more in what is undivided, brings one back to wholeness. And then, once again, the journey is, for many of us, increasingly, which I'm really happy to see, is this return back to know that all this is that. Because not only is it important within a human being, but as a part of life, an aspect of all life, it's invaluable, because we see ourselves as apart from nature. And then what do we do when we think of something as an object? We don't honor it. We can mistreat it, devalue it. We devalue our own sacredness. We devalue one another, and we devalue creatures to a degree through mistreatment and not understanding their sentience, and that this is all one great whole that we are made of. We're all part of one another. And we devalue Mother Earth. We devalue this beautiful planet. You don't have to see her as a mother if you don't want. But we devalue matter. Matter is form. We devalue it. And so what we devalue, we're going to mistreat, and we're going to maybe even ruin and toxify, and make this place even uninhabitable, which is what's taking place, and leading to extreme suffering for all life. And it's a big mess, and we're in big doo-doo, big trouble. So the fact that we don't value and honor the totality of our own humanness and love this, that's what I said. The biggest act of love you ever do is to love yourself as you are. And hence, I'm using that word today, all life. It's just as within, without, as without. It's going to translate into valuing and loving all. And how do we do that? By knowing ourselves as wholeness, as the totality. And we start incrementally just where we are. I cannot understate how important this is for the well-being of our own collective human beings, well-being of life, and of what sustains us, this earth. Okay, we cannot understate together how important it is to be able to come in right relationship with ourselves within our own being, and be able to see clearly that there really is no division between anything, and to learn how to live in harmony, first here and then there. But it's not just this either or it comes in flux through learning how to love ourselves increasingly, and be able to lean into presence more and more, and be able to see that the world is suffering, people are suffering, creatures are suffering. What we're doing to the planet breaks our heart open, and so it's this ongoing interrelationship dance of being able to see that we're participating in our own demise and in our own healing. And so which way do we want to learn? What do you want? What do you want, versus leaning more into what you want versus don't want? Because that really, it says a lot. We understand through what we don't want, but we need to be able to come into right relationship with what we want, and help breathe life into it and empower what we want. And even together. I mean, that's why I make these videos. It's not just a singular kind of experience and vision. It's something that wants to come into harmony with others, and share in this understanding of being able to place our attention as much together as we can on what's true, what's undivided and whole, our totality, and that we're one with this, within it, even within our uniqueness, and then to be able to honor the vast variety of what we are, and to be able to come in right relationship with it. So yeah, that's what I've got today. Warm wishes to you as always. Be well.